Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining this webinar of today on the topic of navigating underwriting obstacles. And we'll show you how the S360 SaaS solution can drives innovation with the inclusion of dacadoo's risk engine. And I'm very excited about this joint webinar between S360 and dacadoo of today. Before we start, I would like to introduce the presenters to you. And we have on the first presenter I would like to present to you is Luana Evoles, Head of Growth at 360, based in Luxembourg. Luana, did you want to say a few words to present yourself?
Yes, well, everybody, welcome. It's really good to have you here with us today. I work now for over 6 years with a medical group that's called Sample Med. And inside of the medical group, we have this challenge of bringing life insurance underwriting to a new level. And I was very involved in the process of developing the platform, that's the S360. And we have some new features, new things to share, and also old knowledge. So we will go through different topics. And Manuel, do you want to give some feedback or some background about you?
Yes,
Most people
thank you.
Thank
you very much, Luana. And myself, I'm Manuel Hoyer. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of dacadoo since 13 years. And dacadoo is a leading vendor of digital health engagement platforms to help users adopt healthier lifestyles across the time. And we introduced this solution mainly through insurers, life and health across the globe. We're in more than 40 markets today. We are a company that calculates health risks and calculates a health index, a health score, we call it. And we have a side product we call the risk engine, where we calculate probabilities of mortalities and morbidities and impute missing values. And this engine, we call the risk engine, has now been found a home in a full stack solution that Luana will present, the S360. And that includes now the risk engine outputs. And therefore, I'm very excited of today's joint webinar. So what we will be doing today with you, first, we are recording this session in case you would like to share what we present to you today. On a later stage, we will share the video with you. That's a first point. The second point, you will have the ability to ask questions. We will have a Q&A at the end of the session, and there will be a poll during the presentation where we would like to know from you where you see the main obstacles. And between Luana and I, we will change who presents all the time. I will start by setting the scene. I will share a few articles and publications we see that we believe are interesting or might affect underwriting and the way you calculate risk over time, and then hand over to Luana, who will look at the obstacles that underwriters face, and before she then presents the solution, and then I will present the risk engine part, and then we end up with the Q&A. So a lot to go through. Let's dive right in. So Luana, if you may ask you to go to the next slide.
Yes, let's start.
Thank you. So first, of course, and you know that lifestyle is a big determinant of outcome. And depending on the source you go, they go between 40 or even a higher percentage that you can influence the modifiable health risks with a good behavior. The challenge has always been in underwriting is to look at, okay, how and what type of data points should you include in the underwriting of risk and the calculation of risk? And also, is it accepted by your members to actually share personal health information? So we come from that world of behavior change and collecting longitudinally, dynamically data on the lifestyle of our members, of our users. And we now talk today more about the underwriting of risk. If you go to the next slide, Luana. So we obviously look at and are very interested by surveys that are being done by different publications or institutions about checking with their members or insured what would be the acceptance of insurance base to share personal health information with a life insurer in order to get something back, a reward, a premium decrease, be able to do donations. And we call this a something for something economy. And we know from different countries and different cultures, there are differences in this acceptance, but it's been rising, and it's been rising over the years significantly. And this is an interesting publication that came out this year from LIMRA, where they shared in the 224 Insurance Barometer some data points on, the Gen Z, obviously, as a whole new generation entering a clientele who is very driven by social media and online purchases, but also by doing a survey to see how many of the adults would actually be willing to share personal health information. And you can see that already about 40% across average would do so across all demographic groups, and which is a significant increase since 2016 when they did this study again. And this is just one of the data points. There's many institutes who do these measurements, and you find different reports, but it's generally on the rise. And that's good because it allows you more flexibility in adding certain data points in your propositions. Next slide, please. Another topic of interest when we look at this, because our focus has always been the working population between, let's say, 30 and 60, who work and who are insured, typically in a working environment. When we think about the aging, we're all getting older, and it's really not about the lifespan of maximizing life at any cost. It's about really a health span. We want to have a good quality life, healthy years, extensions. And therefore, I think this report from the FII Institute together with McKinsey Health Institute is quite interesting. It talks about the healthy longevity. And there also, as part of getting older, all of us, is also to take care of our lifestyle across the time and maintain us over time. And they highly promote consumer-driven wellness platforms. So it's not enough just to calculate, but it's obviously important that you have something to take care and to manage over time. Next slide, please. Now, this one is an interesting one. It's obviously in the media everywhere. Ozempic and all the other drugs that you read about is a publication from Swiss Re, very interesting, who explains really well the GLP-1 drugs, how they work, what they do in the body, the impact of a weight loss program, and then what would be the impact on underwriting and life and health insurance. So that's I highly recommend you read this. From our experience, if you go off the drug, it's a yo-yo effect, like if you do a diet. You have to engage in a behavior change to make these changes sustainable. That is also what is written in the article. You need to be able to maintain longitudinally the weight loss and the weight history to make it valid for the risk reductions. And for that, you also need, obviously, platforms to do so, because often that weight loss of the GLP-1 injections comes with a strong muscle loss. And you really have to engage in a behavior change program to maintain these changes. With a reduction of pressure by the weight in the system, you obviously will have a reduction of hypertension and diabetes and other items. So this is certainly something coming along your way very strongly and interesting to read. Next slide. Now, this one is it's an article from the Wall Street Journal, but the topic of loneliness is a topic that interests us a lot at dacadoo, because it's also it's a data point we would love to add, because this we're all social animals, and the loneliness happens, and we see this coming up more and more in surveys, also among the young population. And this has now been quantified what that would come, or what's a good analogy of what the impact is. And they say the research suggests that lacking social connection could be as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's just a very aggressive statement, but it shows that it has an impact. It has an impact on survival, And it is a problem in the society of today with lots of social media and the youngs being not so much included anymore. And it's a topic we want to try to nail on how we can quantify this and how we can include this in our proposition. And this is certainly something that will keep you busy also, or will come to you one day or another. Next slide. Now, AI, of course, I have to mention AI. AI is everywhere, and it should actually be good once not to talk about AI. What I thought very interesting is this publication Rudy van Delm did in April of 2024, who wrote about the next generation of underwriting. And Google it because it's very interesting. And he first really organized the whole history of AI in a very nice way on how things are being used. And he explains the impact it has on underwriting. And basically his comment is it's not that AI will, replace underwriters, but what most likely will happen is actuaries that know how to use AI, so AI-powered actuaries will replace actuaries that are that don't use AI, because it is so powerful and it helps so tremendously. And this is a highly interesting article that I encourage everyone to see if you haven't. So next slide. Now, what we see, obviously, when we talk about digital health engagement platforms, because we are in the business of customer engagement, and the touch points life insurers have, and even health insurers, compared to other industry segments, is really, really low. And by adding a digital wellness proposition to your product's proposition, that helps to emotionalize the proposition, it helps to increase customer engagement, to attain your goals in better loyalty, retention, or to cross and upsell, because you have a better understanding of lifestyle of your members, and you can then create value and sell more through that. Now, increasing touch points and data points has obviously value, and it's just important to understand what kind of data points need to be added to create that value. With that, I believe I'm at the end of my setting the scene, and I would like to hand over to you, Luana.
Yes, well, here talks a bit about some hard size or obstacles. So actually, we will get a bit interactive, and later on I'll continue. We have a small poll to hear also the audience. And since the title of the presentation, right, is about obstacles in underwriting, we would like to check here with you. Which of the followings maybe today is one of your biggest obstacles in underwriting? If you could share a bit, we're not going to say who answered what. We have maybe costs could be one of the biggest obstacles. We can have data as a big obstacle, or it's too much paperwork, it's too much offline could be an obstacle. Time, long waiting periods to take final decisions can be considered an obstacle. Or technology, maybe there is not so much really specialized technology for me out there. I mean, technology is there, but it feels like it doesn't fit my business needs. So those are some of the scenarios that we have, and we would like to share here a bit. I see there are already lots of answers. Let's give some more seconds for people who want to engage. We had there a tie. Now we have someone that's a bit more, someone else wants to vote. Numbers are still moving here.
Well, we seem to have a clear winner.
Yeah, I think now we have a winner. And well, can we then consider our winner, Manuel?
Yes, absolutely.
More about the news.
Let's share the results
From the room today.
So it is data, clearly data.
Yeah, so 55% of the people here in the room answer that data, okay, information is disorganized or incomplete. That's actually the biggest obstacle. We also have some votes there for paper, for being too much paperwork. Some vote for time, that's actually long waiting periods. Some vote for tech, not so much specialized tech, but the other ones around like 10%, less than 10%, 9%. And 55% agree, okay, data is our biggest problem today. No one put cost as a problem, so maybe that's good. But what can we do with that information now that we understand? And it's a very good starting point actually for what we're going to talk today. The data is indeed disorganized and incomplete. How can we manage that? Well, who's our pool manager? Do we have here a next step?
I
So
think
the
yeah.
poll has been shared and it's over. You need the second poll now.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a second question. It's good to see that we have here a data winner. And the second question, before we continue the result, it's gonna focus a bit on innovation. Yes?
Yeah, should be
It's
on your
similar.
screen now.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
it's similar, okay? It's a similar question, but with a slight difference. Which of the following is the biggest obstacle in innovating in underwriting? So, innovation problems. Is it about knowledge? We don't have a lot of medical knowledge. Or is it a priority? Okay, my company is too big and my underwriting or my tools, my process never comes in the priority list of what the company needs to fulfill. IT resources, that's our IT, they don't have time at all. It's overloaded. There are many lines of businesses. Or cost, okay, we have some cost problem there when defining the budgets. Or we have a leadership problem when we have lack of internal sponsors who will take that baby. Yeah, we'll take that obstacle and say, no, this one is the one we're going to finish this year. Let's see. There's still some votes happening. I see there's a slight tie. Here is more tough, to define which is the biggest obstacle in innovating underwriting today.
Absolutely, we have a time.
We
Oh, no.
develop. Okay, we're still voting. We have now one is slightly 1 point in front. Who else wants to vote to help us define a clear leader? We'll leave here some seconds for people to keep voting.
Yeah, we have 2/3 participating. I think we can close the poll. That's
Yeah.
good. All right.
And 5 seconds for anyone wishing to throw last vote.
Oh, we are already sharing the results, Luana. So
Yeah,
the winner
I
is.
close it.
You close. Thank you.
You can
Sorry,
share
I
the
didn't
results,
notice.
Luana.
Well, so we have a winner here as well, huh, Manuel? You want to talk about your winner for second
Yeah.
part of the poll?
So cost seems to be the biggest blocker for innovation. With 36% of you voted that, followed by knowledge, the lack of medical expertise, interestingly, with 29%. And then the other items are at lower percentage. So thank you very much for these insights. I think that is a good path for you to continue your presentation, Joanna.
Yes, well, and it's good for us to feel that the insurance industry in general is going through similar challenges, and actually there's a lot that we can learn from each other. And now that we're gonna be talking about the obstacles, let's review a bit what is the journey or everyday life of a life insurer. Okay, this is the basis that we will build upon. We understand that especially for underwriting, there are many must-haves for life insurers because we must have this medical providers and some extra processes, sometimes lab exams, sometimes tele-interview, things that are outside of ourselves that we can count on providers and partners. We have a lot of offline interactions because that's very sensitive data out there because there's a different and more complex process. We have reinsurers guideline that we need to keep an eye on at all times. And maybe even more than other lines of businesses, I think that there is a huge pressure on life insurers, especially the underwriters, because of results. Because here it's one claim or one person could mean maybe a 3 million claim. Yeah, it's not like a car or some other things. So things can get a huge proportion, and that's why people are very, very careful with life insurance underwriting. So you know you have your goals and you try to start automating, but then when we want to innovate and we see, okay, we cannot continue like that, we find out that we have many, many restrictions. And some of the known restrictions is, okay, our IT teams are overloaded because we want to innovate, but actually the IT takes care of the whole company and other lines of businesses, and they not always have the free time to support transformation inside of life underwriting. We find out that medical documents have the most sensitive data out there, and that's super delicate. So it's hard to make it go well inside of a system, and it makes a bit challenging to start things by ourselves. We get, because of that, with poor risk inside of the whole portfolio. We have a lot of information about the business aspect, but the medical inside, it kind of stays in a black box. And there are some softwares out there, but in general, they're very expensive and they're not really specific with medical knowledge. They are generalistic, let's put it this way. While that, in the meanwhile, there's some new, we can put here in brackets, unattainable technology trends knocking at the door of the life insurer. So what should we do? And what's actually our problem? Our underwriting problem in life insurance is more that we have a handcrafted network that's very delicate of online, offline, provider here, provider there, one system here, one system there. And it's so delicate, it's fragile. We don't want to touch it because we're afraid we might spoil it. We're afraid that something could go wrong. But what we can say, it's kind of working, right? I mean, super delicate, we cannot touch, but it's going and doing its job. I mean, we probably already have online questionnaires, but my question is that all digital transformation can offer us the ability to do questions online? There is a big problem with automation in life insurance, but most people don't realize that automation is not the biggest problem. Okay. Our data is our biggest problem in life insurance underwriting. And it's very good because this poll, actually, people did vote that. So you're very aware of that. And that's the maturity step that I'm really happy with the audience today. You already know that. But data is also the biggest asset a company can have. It's the biggest advantage. And when we start channeling this data into a framework that is focused on protecting it, on structuring it, we can transform data from our biggest obstacle into our biggest tool. So we will talk here a little bit also about data maturity for you to check if your data is your problem or not. Here, first case scenario, you evaluate for yourself, okay? You're not going to give any answers here, but you think with us in your mind. How long does it take for you to update an online questionnaire? Let's check here the maturity options. If your system takes around like 6 months to update a questionnaire, or maybe 4 months, and I would say even 2 months, you very likely have a data problem there. Because with well-structured data and organized data, once you set up the logic of the questionnaire, it should not take more than 1 week to update an online questionnaire, okay? But things are kind of working, right? So next, let's test ourselves, our data maturity inside of life underwriting. How does your reports and dashboards look like? We have 3 levels of maturity in reports for life insurance underwriting. If I want to make here a report on diabetes, I have here diabetes, yes and no. I have here. This is 1 level of maturity, okay? It means the data is not so well utilized. There is room for improvement if you have systems that are showing you a dashboard like that. We have here, okay, we have type 1, type 2, type 3. This is already moderate maturity towards data for life insurance underwriting. But what it really should look like, according to our mindset, here we have an outlook of diabetes. I can have all different types of diabetes, including the not so common ones. I have severities of the clinical scenarios. And here we can even differentiate more than 100 scenarios within my portfolio for diabetes. So if you have a dashboard like that, then you don't have a data problem. If you have different type of dashboard, you still need to work on your data readiness. And then we have some people saying, okay, maybe AI is going to solve all my problems, right? And then I will not have a data problem anymore. And then comes our question. Okay, for AI to solve your problems, we need actually to have a data readiness, to have a high level of maturity in data readiness. And the point is, most of our data at life insurance underwriting is rather in papers or it's in a very unready structure in platforms. So there is a simple equation that says, from IT people in many different branches, I believe you probably already heard about that, if we have data and we want to feed machine learning or AI, if you have garbage in, it's a simple equation. It's garbage in, garbage out. With low data readiness, we cannot really make the best use of the technology trends that are coming outside, okay? There is a inside homework that we actually need to do in order to attain that. And it's very evident that inside of life insurance, we are suffering, let's say, from a disconnection problem because we have processes that are not collecting for us or is not saving for us data a way it should be. So let's try to reconnect ourselves here and brainstorm together how we think life should be, or at least life underwriting should be. Look here, we have a nice and neat office. Maybe, I don't know, in the Netherlands, it sounds a little bit, or from the color scheme, etc., as a workspace, white. One plan to make you feel a little bit more homey, and it was designed to work. So we get used to certain ways of working, and sometimes to work in a specific way is everything that we know. But we forget that it has to do with perspective and with things that we inherited. So we think that this here looks like a workplace that is a bit more comfortable, but that's a very good setting to be. And I don't know about you guys, in the beginning I didn't say that, but actually I'm Brazilian. So I have different expectations of workplace and of life. When I moved to Europe, actually was the first time I experienced winter. 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I'm here for a long time now. And in my life, in my expectation, I did not expect that to happen. That seemed wrong. It wasn't the wrong place for me. For me, life should be different. And each one of us, in a bigger or smaller degree, has some expectations for life. And I'm pretty sure also expectations on how work should feel like and how work should look like, okay? We think of ways in which underwriting should feel like and it should look like. Part of it we inherited, and part of it, and we try to see with new eyes, we can find the ways that things should be. Because I think most of us will agree that life should be actually easy, or we should come to work Mondays with this sparkle, with this energy, with something like, oh, we're going to do that. It's going to be great. And thinking of that, of those feelings and those expectations, we try to reinvent life underwriting, trying to make it look a little bit more how it should be, okay? And that's how I want to present for you today. We built a new SaaS, the S360 Life Underwriting, where we try to make everything make sense and everything connected. We were very fortunate this year. We're really surprised with the prizes that we got. Actually, it's a great honor. We got the prize in Switzerland, Neighbors by Manuel. We got the prize in Las Vegas at ITC, the prize from Spain, some other prizes. And we are leveraging new partnerships to even increase our product offering to our clients as an integration hub to excellent technology out there. So today we'll give a special overview on the dacadoo risk engine and how it makes sense inside of the S360. And after explaining this new feature, we'll go through briefly the general framework that we have here of having all-in-one, all modules to investigate risk in a single solution. Okay, that's our concept. So, Manuel, can you explain to us a little bit about the risk engine?
Absolutely. So I'll make this quickly so that you'll have enough time to go through the whole product offering. But basically, the S360 is a full-featured underwriting workbench platform. It's all in one place. And what we built with the dacadoo risk engine is a piece of the Lego, if you will. We calculate health risks because this is our origin. We have health and wellness platforms where we use lifestyle-based data, body data, emotional well-being data, and thereby can calculate an outcome. And in this risk engine, the inputs are the biometrics, the questions we ask them, family history, diagnosed diseases and treatments, and all the modifiable health risk data points we get in. On the output side, on the platform, on the wellness platform, we calculate the health index, which is more for engagement purposes, a number from 0 to 1,000, where we give the people something back to understand where they are in their health and wellness as they progress. But for underwriting, life reinsurers and life underwriters who do the underwriting decisions themselves, they wanted to understand better what is in this engine. So thereby we created this risk engine that as an output calculates 3 mortalities, probabilities of mortalities, relative risks, as well as of the key morbidities, relative risks as well. And then based on limited data, it imputes all the missing data. So if you don't give me the blood values or the fluid values, based on other data, I can estimate those. We also provide an interview guidance. So because we always calculate the coefficient intervals, we know what the next best question should be to be asked to increase prediction value. And we work with something called sharp values. It's an acronym to provide transparency into an AI machine learning based model to understand what is good for the risk and what is deteriorating for the risk. Now, there's different use cases on how to use this engine. And in our experience, this is really focused only around the health risks. And so far, our experience has been that life insurers who work with us, they really had an interest to dive in and work with the data. But they always ask us, but are you an underwriting workbench or a decision tree? Do you replace underwriting engines? And we said no. So we understood that we need to find a home into a bigger engine that can work with this data in a bigger context. And thereby, I think it's so valuable to have this joint partnership with S360 and SampleMed, because we found a home for this risk engine that does add value because it brings in dynamic data from lifestyle of its users. So if you go to the next slide. So these are just the types of mortalities, probabilities, and morbidity probabilities we calculate for your understanding. If you go to the next slide. And then I think that we have the several use cases. Oh, no, that's already going back to you then. All right.
To understand a little bit then about the context in which the new risk engine from dacadoo comes, the S360, as said, it's an all-in-one underwriting workbench. Means the underwriters, they will work here, and we want to give them power and variety to create a fully automated flow of cases. So they can draw no-code journey setups of investigation. We have many modules inside of the system. For example, modules to do video calls or audio calls, questionnaires online for automated underwriting, some autonomous questionnaires, and also questionnaires connected to dacadoo engine. We have a module for the predictive models, and we have more than 10 models between life accident here from us. We can connect also to external financial scores, and if you have models that you use, we can integrate them. We have a module for lab exams that requests, receives, and help to interpret exams. It also allows applicants to do self-upload and it manages, it's the management of the information and the documents that need to be sent for extra analysis. Everything is connected to the workbench. So it's a single pipeline, it's a single database, and that's data power for you. All that data will be interpretable and it will land for you anonymized at our data lake. that each client receive its own data lake. Yeah, it's a safe space that's only for you. And well, how will this information keep structured? We have actually secret. That's not so secret anymore. We have something that we call it the risks bank. And the risks bank, it is a web semantic that we built. It's actually medical knowledge converted into a language that the computer understands. So each part of risk can be named, can be identified, and can be marked within the system. This is especially built for life underwriting. This is not like an ICD code that has many codes, but in some parts where we need more depth, it's not there. And in some parts where we don't need that many details, it's there. So it's not a generic medical code. It's a code for life insurance underwriting. And we have today ongoing research. Actually, we have more than 600 main risks now that are pre-mapped, more than 4,000 clinical scenarios that the system can diagnose by itself when he receives the information, which converts into more than 14,000 rules for final decision across 10 different benefits that are relevant for life insurance. Yeah. And here comes what we said. For example, if you want to have dashboards like that, giving you severity and different illnesses with same severity, if you want to do that type of comparison, you actually need a structure like that. All the modules we have in the system can be used alone. So if you have a need for specifically one of them or the risk bank, it's available in different parts. But if you have all of them on, they will all use the same framework and they will all be identifiable or structured medical information because of the risk bank. At the end, we have also some extra hacks for underwriters because we want to advance in strategy, not only be doing the hard work, the repetitive work, but you focus on what's your best, that is your intelligence. And we want to power in teams to do more research and to have better performance. So we have, for example, the risk bank as mentioned. We have a part to map out exceptions within comorbidities, a smaller actuarial lab to do Monte Carlo simulations or Avery experience studies. We offer an underwriting manual. So if you want to read about conditions and other risks in a more fluid way that's not so medical, not so heavy, we have that for you inbuilt. And we have launched this year Vida. Vida is our AI underwriting assistant. She can help you with questions you may have about her manual. She's LLM model, so you can talk to her and she's completely safe because she's using the framework of the system, the risk bank and the underwriting manual to give you answers. So she's not creating things by her own. It's our doctors that created the taxonomy and the web semantic, and through that she can digest for you information, help you analyze cases and do something else as an assistant, because we want underwriters to be the stars of the system. Yeah, we don't want to replace underwriters. So what we're offering here is actually life as it should be. It's a holistic approach in an all-in-one workbench. We want to bring freedom from the IT teams because we do know that they're quite busy out there. And for you to innovate and you not need to change your tech stack all the time, we want to offer you everything in one, so integration will be really simple and you can do automation by yourself. This framework will also help you reach a great level of data readiness, and it will assure that the insurer will keep competitive and will keep resilience in front of the technological future. Yeah. On top of that, we have the medical knowledge. That's something that we inherited from the medical group, that's SimpleMed. They had more than 10 doctors focus only reviewing the content from the risk bank and the underwriting manual. And that's actually what we deliver. So we're really happy to have the partnership with dacadoo now and to have one more feature that is brilliant with health data from out there to enhance the way we handle underwriting.
Super.
I guess we have questions, huh?
Swiss watch, Swiss clock, punctually at 40 minutes, we close the presentation and open now for the Q&A. One question has already been risen about whether we share the slides. We don't share the slides per se, but we'll share the video recording. I've already answered that, which will contain the slides, of course. You will see that again. But there's 4 more questions, which I will read now, and maybe these are mostly for you, Luana. So let me pick one out. Do you have any module for the group life or group health insurance underwriting?
Well, when we do the setup per product, that's actually something we didn't go deep inside. We have a product configuration page. That's where you will build the flows. When you configure the product, you can define if it's individual life, if it's for group life, or if it's for health. Most of our experience or the way we build the web semantic was focusing on individual life because it has actually more detail and granularity. But especially for group and other things, we suggest, for example, the predictive models or some middle-sized questionnaires. So it's possible to have individual life, group life, and health in the system together. Okay, with accident, people that separate accident from life and disabilities. Mm-hmm.
Super, thank you. Here's another good one. New insurance entries need to overcome the credibility hurdle. How credible is your offering and results? So has S360 been vetted by a large insurer or reinsurer?
Well, this is a good question. We are actually a spin-off from a medical group that I said in the beginning is called SimpleMed. And as an insurtech, we would not have the knowledge to build that, okay? So this is actually based on experience. And our medical group today work in different continents. We are currently serving 3 reinsurers in the market and more than 27 insurance companies in different levels of the software. Okay, not all of them are. The S360 is actually the newest software that we have. So not all of them are in the S360. We have now already, I think, 7 insurers, 1 reinsurer using it. But it's more than, let's say, 40 years of experience in life insurance to build that. We are coming as a, let's say, a new brand and a child company, but we're on the shoulders of big other companies with a lot of medical experience and a lot of exchange and learning with our clients. Yeah. So that's how it came about, the system that you're seeing today.
Great answer. Another one for you. We have noticed reluctancy of clients to do medical exams. Can we train this model with medical reports to assist in underwriting without the client doing any medical exams?
Let me see if I understood well the question. To assist in medical report without the exam, would it be to input data to avoid medical exams? Or
Not sure.
does anyone want to enhance that? Because actually, okay, there are some other features that are not broadly mentioned, but they're today one can do online exams. I don't know if you all are aware of that. For example, we can do some face exams to check some minor conditions, to check blood pressure, to check heart rate, to check even if people were a smoker, they're testing on that. There's some different providers that can be connected there in the S360 that we have a good relationship with. Those online exams.
The person who has risen the hand, who has asked the question, it's N20. I will unmute you so that you can talk.
All right, can I go?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for the presentation. So I work with a reinsurance company in Africa, and because of the increasing cost of medical exams, we are having a lot of people that don't want to go for medical examinations now. And then we are seeing a lot of rises, clients demanding for rise in free cover limits and non-medical limits for individual life businesses. So we are noticing that maybe in the next like 2-3 years, there are a lot of clients that will not want to go for medical. So my question is, can we use the pool of medical reports we're having now, gathering data and the rest, and train this model in such a way that with very limited medical declaration form, we can take an underwriting decision?
Yes, well, actually, the different channels that we offer is for you to combine in your strategy and make it more efficient exactly for things like that. To, for example, request less exams. When you build a flow within the system to go through the underwriting investigation, sometimes people use predictive models as standalone, but you can have a predictive model as a starting point. And then later on, you can conduce, for example, an interview, proper interview, depending on the capital amount insured, but an interview or a questionnaire. And from that, you see if you have enough data, not enough data, but you see if the risk chance is smaller, and you can put some people, let's say, in a blue list or in a green list, where say, okay, this risk is actually really small. We pass more than one step. So those people we can spare. Or people that fall within the framework, you could also use of other technologies. As I mentioned today, there's some imaging technology that you can combine with a video interview. While you're interviewing per video, you can check with consent, of course. Some things, as the light come here, actually we can measure blood pressure and some other markers that are really relevant to check if this person actually should go for lab exam or not. Or sometimes we request also medical reports that people have at home, and they can upload it. They will receive an email with a link. They upload through the link, and it falls directly into the file of this person within the S360 for the underwriter. So it goes straight there. And then they can check extra information people already had at home to take decisions and to understand. Of course, because of the data structure that we have, when you start using the system will start creating data in your data lake. And based on that, in your specific region, you will have more data power to start jumping more steps, let's say. So with the usage, this is actually a framework that will help you build and collect quality data that will help you to automate even more in the future. So maybe in the beginning, we will start with some requirements, but after you have a very good amount of data, there are some steps or there are more cases you'll be able to run predictive, or there are more locations that are specific to your country that you will get enough information to have, to be able to measure your appetite for risk and to be able to deal with that in a digital way. So you don't need to send everybody, for example, for lab exams. Sorry, that was long, but I guess I need to explain the context. And all of you are welcome. Of course, we do free demonstration of the system. If you have doubts on how it works, how it should work, if you write me or way, and we will communicate. This is available for people to see by themselves how it works, okay?
Perfect. Luana, we came to the end of with 3 minutes over of the time we've scheduled with you. We're mindful of your limited time, but great questions. Thank you very much. There's one more on, cost and white label or not. I suggest that you can contact us directly, as Luana mentioned. You see the emails here of luana.eroles@s360.live or myself, manuel.hoyer@dacadoo.com. Or either or, you can write us, because we coordinate efforts anyway between Luana and me. It was a great pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for staying on. And with that, I wish you a wonderful end of week. And for those who have festivities end of year, happy holidays to all of you. And talk soon. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays. Feel free to add us on LinkedIn and to send your questions. I'll be glad to answer. Thank you, Manuel.
Bye-bye.
Bye.